Two major conferences, different goals, different challenges, and different priorities. Syria, Yemen, and Iran, of course, all part of the conversation. I'm joined in our Washington studio by Khalil Jahshan, Executive Director of the Arab Center here in Washington, D.C. Khalil, welcome to our program.
Thank you.
Let me begin with the Sochi summit. Russia, Iran, Turkey, all trying to come up for some kind of viable solution in terms of peace and security for Syria. With so many competing geopolitical interests, priorities, if you will, is that even possible?
It is possible, but it's kind of unrealistic. I mean, when you look at just the imagery of three foreign countries that are in occupation of Syria, sitting around to discuss the future of Syria.
Without the Syrian government representatives
without
or
the Syrian
opposition.
people,
Yes.
without the Syrian people participating. So who's speaking on behalf of the Syrian people? I know the regime doesn't fully, neither do these three parties. So it's hypocritical to have conferences like this and pretend that they might lead to peace and security for Syria.
Russia, Iran, and Turkey are not at the Warsaw Conference. Of course, it was mired in controversy from the moment it was announced by the Trump administration. Is Iran here the elephant in the room?
Definitely, Iran is the elephant in the room. Yes, the participants were forced to actually change the title. Initially, it was dubbed as a conference to confront Iran influence in the region. But then because of actually the co-partner, if you will, in this conference, the Polish, after their consultation with the Iranians, decided that title is too provocative. So the title was changed to a ministerial to promote future peace and security in the Middle East. Again, the agenda was not changed, but the title was. So, yes, Iran is.
What do you make of what Vice President Pence had to say, urging European delegates that are there that they should pull out of the Iran nuclear agreement? Iran is still complying. The Europeans are still complying. How realistic is that Europe is going to turn its back economically on Iran when United States unilaterally pulled out of that deal?
Very unrealistic, because he is asking the EU, the closest allies of the United States, to turn against their own interests. And this, I think, the statement that he made, honestly, basically points out to the failure of U.S. policy in this regard. That is reflected in the participation of our European allies. I mean, he is speaking to European allies from their front yard. He is there, he is in Europe, and he's talking about a serious disagreement by Washington's closest allies on an issue they don't believe in. They do not believe in the pullout from this treaty. They believe there are other ways, diplomatic ways, to proceed forward, and they are unhappy with the U.S. policy. So for him to be there and to chastise his allies indicates failure of Washington's policy.
Khalil, very quickly, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, is the really only head of government attending this gathering in Warsaw. And he raised a few eyebrows by being quoted as saying they're sitting down with their Arab Gulf countries and they are discussing advancing the common interests of a war with Iran.
Yes.
War. And then they later changed that, saying it was really about confronting Iran or combating Iran. What is that about?
That's about semantic acrobatics. Mr. Netanyahu, who is the master craftsman of word, I don't think he made a mistake. I think he meant to say what he said, to put all the parties there on the spot. That's what he was there for. And he felt, and that shows, by the way, a discrepancy between Israel and the U.S. in terms of objectives. So changing the word from war to combat, I mean, some of us know Hebrew. He used the word milhama. Milhama in Hebrew is war. I learned that in 4th grade, okay? And so it's very difficult to retreat from that. That's his intention, and that was the original intention of the conference.
All right, we'll leave it there. Khalil Jahshan, thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure, Asieh.